Welcome to Peter and Ruffy's football show here on STV. The main talking points on tonight's programme. Dave King reveals Rangers may look for a short-term fix for the manager's job. Alex McLeish has opened the door on a possible return to Ibrox. And it's advantage Hibs in the Scottish Cup replay with Hearts. Just a few of the points we'll be discussing, as well as looking back over the weekend results. Alan Ruff is with me, Peter Martin, and I'm delighted to say on Monday our Bootroom guest, as ever, is Mark Guidi. So, lots to talk about. Let's cut to the chase. Dave King has been quoted stating that Rangers may look to a short-term fix for the manager's job until the end of the season. Does that surprise you, Mark Guidi?
No, it doesn't. I think they'll take their time. Ideally, within the next 4 weeks, Rangers would like the full-time man in, the permanent replacement for Mark Warburton. But if they can't get somebody until the summer, or whatever the reason may be, then they'll look short-term. Somebody like Alex McLeish or something like that, would come into the frame for that. But one thing about it, Peter, there's no shortage of people interested in the job. There's some high-calibre names. And I think Rangers will be spoiled for choice. Yep,
no surprise, Ruffy, as the days progress from Friday's 9 o'clock statement at night, the mudslinging has started.
Yeah, it certainly has, and as the days go on, more and more's coming out. You know, obviously we knew it all started at a board meeting. He was asking for more players. They were saying, no, you're not getting any more players. And he's obviously came to the decision, well, this isn't going anywhere, and then obviously Rangers have taken it a bit further, but I think there's a lot more still to come out that we don't know about.
Yeah, of course, Graham Murty had to take charge of the team for the match against Morton. In the end, Rangers won it by 2-1. That's after going a goal down to Michael Tidser, but they fought back, Kenny Miller as ever, and also Martin Wycon with the goals. This is what Murty had to say about the whole affair and finding out he was in charge before the game.
I tried to call Mark and tried to talk to him. I wanted basically to thank him because he was on my interview panel and he's been very, very open and inclusive and very welcoming for me since I've been at the football club. So I tried to have a chat to him. He hasn't taken my call as yet, but I'll definitely try and get in contact with him. It was difficult because I had the world telling me what to do. I had quite a few people on Twitter telling me what team to pick. I had every single person in my phone book telling me I've got to do this, I've got to do that. And at the end, I just had to go away with what I thought. So picking it was difficult, but telling the players who weren't involved was even harder. But I thought I should do that face to face and give them the respect they deserve. So I did that, and the result is what you saw.
Just briefly on the game, Rangers worthy winners, Ruffy?
I thought Morton took a lot of credit out of it, the way they played. I think at the end of the day, maybe Rangers just sneaked it. I think they were fortunate with their 2 goals. They got a couple of lucky breaks. But I think Jim Duffy will be pleased with his players. I thought they handled the situation very well. I think it will give them encouragement for the playoffs coming up. And I think he'll be really, really confident of doing something. Obviously, if you can go to Ibrox and hang on in there, you would think, given the chance, if you could come up against one of the bottom sides of the SPFL, you've got a chance.
Yeah, as far as Rangers are concerned, Martin Wycon has been maybe critical of the fact that some players didn't know if they were going to get a regular start or not. The selections from Mark Warburton changed from time to time, but over and above that, he was shocked at the news.
It was a shock to everyone. It was one of them things, but you've got to deal with it. It was winning the next day, got to explain the situation, and that was it. Time to move on, and it's Rangers. You can't hold on to stuff for too long. It's important about progressing and going forward, and I think now it's important that we've got the right person in charge, whoever it might be, because we've got a great set of lads here and young, hungry team that wants to really progress, and I think that's the most important thing.
Yep, full marks. Rangers are into the next round. Morton will be concentrating on the championship and making sure they're in a good place for the playoffs. Of course, Jim Duffy delighted with the performance of his team.
Disappointed about losing the game, of course we are, and congratulate Rangers being in the quarter-final, so good luck to them. But from our point of view, I thought we scored an outstanding goal with the 2 clearest cut chances in the game, which you've got to take if you come to Ibrox. But generally speaking, other than the sort of 15 minutes after Rangers when Rangers scored the second goal, they had possession for a long time, and you know, from my point of view, we really had to just try and gamble a little bit and squeeze the game there. But once Rangers scored that second goal, for the next 15 minutes, they really upped the tempo and moved the ball quickly, and that was difficult for us to hang on in there for that 15 minutes. But we managed to see that period out, and in the last 15 minutes I thought we looked as if we could maybe get the equaliser, but it wasn't to be. But as I said, I think we made it an exciting match and a difficult game for Rangers, and that was always going to be the request that we gave the players, is to make it an uncomfortable day, and I think we done that.
OK, if Graham Murty's only got one game in charge, he's got a 100% record. He will be in charge on Tuesday for training and then take it from there. You mentioned there Alex McLeish is in a good place. Of course, yesterday he was on the Sky Sports commentary team and said, basically, I'm a Rangers man. It would be too difficult a job to turn down, Ruffy. We've heard Mark Guidi's thoughts on it. Is he a short-term fix? Is that something that you think would excite Alec?
I think obviously Alec's been out of a job for a while now, you know, and he knows what it's about at Ibrox. Given the opportunity, he would want to go in there, you know, and take the chance, you know, that it might be a future gig, but I think it all depends on, you know, what he does if he gets it from now to the end of the season. And as Mark said, I'm sure we keep hearing when a Hamilton were looking for a manager, there was 40 candidates. I'm sure when the Rangers job officially comes up, there'll be more than that.
Yeah, as far as the odds are concerned, Alex McLeish, clear favourite at the moment. Things can change. Here's the runners and riders so far. Billy Davis, 13-8. Frank de Boer, Derek McInnes. Tommy Wright says it's just speculation linking him with the job. We've even heard the name of Vitor Pereira in the mix as well, Mark Guidi.
Well, Vitor Pereira certainly had support within the boardroom 20 months ago when Matt Warburton got the job. But eventually Warburton got it, but one or two wanted Pereira, so he will be in the frame for sure. Spoke to Frank de Boer on Saturday morning, got the impression that the Rangers job is not for him just now. He's not back a few clubs since leaving Inter Milan, and he won't take a job until the summer. Derek McInnes, Tommy Wright, Billy Davis, Alec McLeish, all in the frame. Throw in Gary Rowett from down south, Pereira, Dougie Freedman from down south. You can throw in a few other names, but what we can't rule out as well, Peter, is that I think Rangers are examining all options of how to take the club forward, and it could well be a director of football with a head coach rather than your traditional manager. Yeah,
over and above that, I think when eventually the dust settles, for me, the crux of this, Ruffy, is quite simply I thought Mark Warburton failed at his job. I think there were a number of issues. I always got the sense that he was trying to work his ticket down south, but regardless of that, now that he's gone, the aftermath is there are a number of players that didn't work out in his signings. Somebody's going to have to pick up the baton and trying to make a team that can have a strong finish to the end of the season. But I think now the fans are looking at Dave King. I think now the emphasis is on, you know, the scrutiny of the money he's putting in and how much more is to get put in, and who's actually putting this money in, because the Rangers fans have put their money in big time.
Yeah, they certainly have, and obviously you've got the figures there of what he's actually spent, you know. But I think the Rangers supporters were wanting a bit more than that. I think they were wanting better quality players coming into the club. I think 5 loan players coming in, 4 players who are 36, 37, isn't really looking towards the future. And that would be the main thing that I would hit on. Whether the manager's hands were tied with a budget that he thought he wanted more. And Dave King just said, no, that's it. You know, we've given you a remit, and they think, or they believe, that he wasn't meeting that. The puzzling thing for me was, okay, I think at the beginning of the season we all couldn't decide whether there were going to be a 4th team or a 3rd team or a 2nd team. I think the main objective was 2nd or 3rd. I thought he was still on track for that and to get into Europe, but the words coming out for Dave King was they were expecting more. I would like him to maybe elaborate a wee bit more than that, what he's looking for.
Amazingly, you and I disagree on this, because I think you've been very defensive of Mark Warburton. I think his team was inept. I think his defence was woeful at times, and they lost big games, Mark. I mean, for me, I wasn't fooled. They started to actually, you know, talk in riddles towards the end.
Well, I think the past few weeks he was working the exit plan, as you say, in the game, and there's no doubt about that. For me, what I'm a bit saddened about is the reaction from some people towards David Weir and all this. There's 2 sides to every story, Peter, and David Weir, first and foremost, is a Rangers man, and nobody would be more disappointed into what's happened at the club since they won promotion the past 7-8 months than David Weir. But I won't go down the road of criticising David Weir until you find out the other side of the story. The other thing that you mentioned, you're absolutely right. Dave King is now critical in what happens at Rangers, and he has to be more hands-on. You can't be an absentee chairman stroke owner. You've got to be there, and if he's not already on a plane over from South Africa, he should be, and he should plank himself here for the next few weeks to get things sorted.
Okay. After the break, we're going to talk about one of the worst derbies that I've watched in many a long year. Welcome back to Peter and Ruffy's Football Show. Alan Ruff and Mark Guidi are with me, Peter Martin. The Edinburgh derby, I built it up. My apologies. It was rank rotten. Honestly, I mean, midway through it, I thought to myself, first of all, you know, we've slaughtered Motherwell for the state of their pitch on numerous occasions. The pitch was diabolical.
Yeah.
Over and above that, the quality of football was so poor.
It was, you know, nowadays I very rarely will sit down and fence off a period to watch 90 minutes of action, but I did yesterday. I'm really looking forward to it. 12:30, brilliant. But I was disappointed. Terrific result for Hibs to get them back to get Hearts back to Easter Road for a replay. But you're right, state of the pitch, not conducive to good football. I don't think Ian Cathro would want it that way. So it became a battle. Great atmosphere inside the stadium, but the quality of football was just lacking. And I only hope that the replay makes up for it and gives the supporters and the viewers some excitement.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, again, you know, I love the stadium. I think it's a fantastic stadium. One thing that really, you know, caught my attention was the relentless support from the Hibs fans. I thought they were unbelievable. I mean, sometimes you get both sets of fans that have a go at each other and then they all sing, but they were relentless throughout, Ruffy.
Yeah, and that's the Neil Lennon factor. You know, since he's in there, he's got everybody together. You know, let's not forget, before he went there, the fans were all protesting here and there, and he's united them. And we had Leanne in. You can sense, you know, that they're all pushing in the same direction. And when you get 16,000 at home, you know, and you keep them on board, and you give them a reasonable result, like the other day there, they're all going to be singing, you know, and it's just amazing how things have changed.
Yeah. Over and above that, I mean, if there was an edge in it, I thought Hibs looked the more composed at times in the match. I think it's advantage Hibs at Easter Road. I genuinely think they've got a really good chance now of you know, getting into the next round. Yeah,
I would agree with you, Peter. I would make Hibs very slight favourites to go through. It might suit Hearts being away from home. We don't know. We'll wait and see. But it'll just be a cracking atmosphere inside Easter Road for that replays a week on Wednesday.
Yep.
So look, it'll be a belter. And the thing is, the great reward, with all respect to Clyde or Ayr United,
yeah,
that right, for the next round, then, you know, it's a real chance to get into the semi-finals.
Yeah. Let's not be too premature saying it's going to be an absolute belter. We've built it up before and it hasn't lived up to it. Do you want to come through with me for the game?
I'll be working that night, but it can't be as bad as yesterday, can it? In terms of the quality of play and excitement on the pitch, it can't be as bad as yesterday.
Yeah, fingers crossed on that one. All complaints to Mark Guidi, care of STV. Okay, let's look at the results from the weekend in the Scottish Cup, just to see how it all panned out. Of course, it was emphatic for Celtic, hammering Inverness by 6-0. There's Ayr United, Clyde and Dunfermline Hamilton having to do it all again. Tuesday of this week, East Fife and St Mirren, Jack Ross welcome respite from their battle to avoid relegation, and Aberdeen in the end, it took a Shea Logan strike that I think Scott Fox will not want to look at that shot for ever and a day. It was such a weak one, and full marks to Adam Barton getting the all-important goal for Partick Thistle, and of course Rangers we've discussed at great length. So the draw for the quarter-finals of the Scottish Cup are as follows: Aberdeen, Partick Thistle, Celtic, St Mirren, Hearts or Hibs versus Ayr United or Clyde, and Rangers against Dunfermline or Hamilton. Not exactly exciting, but I mentioned Partick Thistle there. Great credit to them. You know, I thought they played some nice football again. Not that it's something unusual this season.
Yeah, all credit to them. You know, the defence is getting better. Not losing as many goals as they used to. Still can't get that second goal to give you the wee comfort zone. But Alan Archibald's actually 4 years ahead of schedule for the Scottish Cup win, because it's every 50 years it happens at Thistle.
Yeah, well, that's so good. You just might make it. It'll be an emotional day for you, I must admit, as Mark and myself just dab the side of your cheek and then let you watch the game. I've got that vision in my head now. What, more soup? More soup! So, that's exactly it. Anyway, I'm only kidding. Over and above that, Celtic handed out a hammering. He's now on 26 goals. Ruffy and I have got a bet. I said Dembele would score 40, and it looks as if there's another meal coming my way.
I think, well, I would certainly say he's going to be between 37 and 45, so I think that one will go down to the wire. It actually could come down to Celtic into the Scottish Cup final, could go to the very last day. But looking at the draw, Peter, I think you're looking at the 4 home teams going through it, which makes it a very, very strong semi-final.
Yeah, rather worryingly, again, I mean, all Brendan Rodgers can do is worry about his own team, Ruffy. You know, he says, you know, the demands on the team, he wants to win the league by 50 points. I wouldn't like to see that. I think it would make a mockery. No disrespect to Celtic, it really would make a mockery of the league and the opposition. Yeah,
I think it would. You know, 50 points is a massive amount of points, and but he'll only be thinking of his club and the players. You know, everybody needs targets to go for. If that's what motivates the players, then so be it. It'll certainly motivate the fans. They just love anything like that, and who's to say they won't?
Yeah, okay. As far as the league games that were going on at the weekend, there was one in the Premiership. It finished Dundee 1, Kilmarnock 1, which I don't think suited anyone, Mark. I don't think that has done anyone any favours whatsoever.
I disagree with you, Peter.
Yeah.
I think Kilmarnock got into the top 6. It's a point away from home, which is a good point. And for Dundee, it's their first point since after the winter break, and they come back from a goal down, and it pushed them up a couple of places as well. So I think over the piece, it's not bad, and I think you look how tight it is, as we know, the bottom kind of 5 clubs, that those points will prove vital in the end. I think they're just so desperate not to lose games that they won't complain when they pick up a point.
Yeah, I think the bottom 2 is the way it's looking for the battle now, Ruffy. Inverness and then Hamilton.
Well, the good thing for us is it could be, if it stays that sort of a way, it could be the split. The split could be even more exciting. You know, we keep saying it every year on year, you know, it is exciting all the time. I think this one in particular, you know, every point is going to be a prisoner, and I think it could get right down to the last game. Yeah.
As far as the Championship's concerned, well, I don't think, even when we usually pick our treble, Mark, I don't think any of us envisaged Falkirk hammering Dundee United by 3-0.
No, I didn't see that one coming. Great result for Peter Houston and his players. Big disappointment for Ray McKinnon, and he's lacerated his players after it for their performance. But again, you look now, I think Hibs are now a shoo-in, Peter, to win the Championship. I think that's done, and I think Dundee United, Falkirk and Morton will be in there, and it's a case of just who finishes runners-up to avoid that extra playoff game. Yeah,
I think that top 4, when you look at the table, Ruffy, is fairly straightforward. Hibs, and then, you know, who plays the fewer playoff matches.
Yeah, I think it would have to be an absolute collapse from Morton not to be in it now, you know, and the evidence of yesterday, the players are on a high just now. I was really impressed with a lot of the players that he's got there, and I think they've got the momentum now to hang on to it.
Yep, I still think St Mirren can get to a playoff place. Are you buying into that, Ruffy?
Playoff would be best for me. I think that would be the best, but they need to win this next one coming up.
Yeah, okay. A warning from Ruffy there. Pay heed to that. I've got to get you guys your last thought on this. Fraser Wishart has mentioned that he'd like to see the quotas of loan signings. Well, I'd like to see quotas introduced, because there's just far too many loan signings. Not good. It's a lot of short-termism. It's something we've been discussing on this programme quite a lot. I agree with Fraser on this. I'd like to see that limited in clubs.
Yeah, I would as well. Obviously, it's okay if younger players can get to lower divisions and get games. That's the main thing. But I think the more that come up and play in the top league, it's hindering, you know, the progress of our young players.
Yeah, I think Fraser also has gone on to say that, you know, it's not good for the national side as well. And again, you know, the only people who benefit if you do well in a loan signing is the club that actually holds your registration mark.
Yeah, I can see pros and cons in it, Peter. Probably there are too many, but if you look round in terms of the national team, I think we've got enough good players playing at a good level all over the UK, and then you've got Oliver Burke playing in the Bundesliga. So I think that's fine. I think their academy structure is going to get tinkered with, but I think where we need to look is between the academy and the first team. The development league just now, I think, is a big concern to everybody in the game: coaches, managers, administrators. We need to do something to make it better for players when they leave the academy to get into the first team. That gap in between is not working, and that's something that needs to be addressed.
Yeah. Just in a word, your pick for the Rangers manager then, do you think?
Peter, it's early in the club, haven't decided which way they want to go in terms of structure and stuff, but like I said earlier, and I've mentioned the name, some excellent candidates there.
Okay, and just for numbers for the bus going through to Easter Road, are you in, are you out? I mean, we're not quite sure. Ruffy and I are organising the bus. We need subscriptions. Yeah. Okay, that's all. I tried my best. What more can you say?
Leave it with me.
He's just going to have to sit through it again and hope that the pitch is in good condition. Thanks to Mark Guidi from Ruffy and myself. Thanks for watching. Good night.